as the sun crept over the horizon. It bathed Riverview Park in a golden glow. A gentle breeze rustled the oak trees, carrying the hum of conversations and children's laughter through the crisp morning air. Families gathered on picnic blankets. Joggers weaved along the trails, and the scent of freshly cut grass promised a tranquil start to the day. Officer Laura Myers walked along the winding path with her German shepherd, Axel, at her side. Axel's dark coat glistened under the sunlight. His ears perked in perpetual alertness. For Laura, Axel was more than a partner. He was a symbol of control and discipline, values she upheld with pride. Yet, as she observed the idyllic scene around her, she felt an unshakable detachment, even irritation. The families laughing, the children playing, it all grated on her nerves. She stopped abruptly, her gaze landing on a young black boy running across a grassy hill, chasing a toy airplane. The child, no older than 6, laughed as he stumbled and ran, utterly absorbed in his play. Something about his carefree demeanor gnawed at Laura. She muttered under her breath, "What's he doing here?" Axel sensed her tension, his ears flicking in response. Laura tightened her grip on the leash as a thought crossed her mind, unfiltered and unchecked. "He doesn't belong here," she whispered. Axel let out a low growl, responding to her mood. The boy continued playing, oblivious to the storm brewing in Laura's mind. He stumbled and scraped his knees, but his laughter persisted. Laura's jaw tightened as she muttered, "Let's go, Axel." Her tone was low and deliberate. With that, she released Axel's leash. The dog bolted forward, a streak of muscle and determination, heading straight for the boy. His bark was sharp and menacing, shattering the morning tranquility. The boy froze, his toy plane dropping from his hands as fear paralyzed him. Before he could scream, Axel was upon him, pinning him to the ground with a growl that sent shivers through anyone who heard it. Nearby parkgoers turned in shock. A woman on a bench gasped, pulling her child closer. A jogger stopped mid-stride, fumbling for their phone to record the scene. "Somebody help him," an onlooker shouted. The boy's cries echoed across the park. "Daddy! Daddy! Help!" From the far end of the park, a man sprinted toward the commotion. It was Marcus Bennett, the boy's father and captain of the local police department. His morning run had been interrupted by the unmistakable bark of a police dog and his son's terrified screams. "Dylan!" Marcus's voice boomed as he pushed through the gathering crowd. Laura froze at the sound, her hand instinctively reaching for Axel's leash. But it was too late. Marcus was already there, pulling his son into his arms. The boy clung to him, trembling and sobbing, his scraped knees smeared with dirt and blood. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Marcus roared at Laura, his voice filled with disbelief and fury. Axel's growls subsided, the dog now looking to Laura for a command. But Laura hesitated, unable to meet Marcus's fiery glare. Laura began, her voice faltering under the weight of Marcus's rage. "Save it," Marcus snapped, holding Dylan tighter. "You think it's okay to unleash a dog on a child? On my child?" Laura stiffened, her voice regaining a sliver of composure. "I was doing my job," she said coldly. "He was acting suspicious." Marcus's face twisted with disbelief. "Suspicious? He's 6 years old," he thundered. The crowd murmured in agreement, their anger palpable. Phones recorded every word, ensuring the encounter would not remain confined to the park. Laura tugged Axel's leash, pulling the dog to her side. But the damage was already done. Marcus's voice dropped to a dangerous calm as he said, "You don't get to walk away from this. You'll answer for what you did. Count on it." Laura's pulse raced as Marcus carried Dylan away, the crowd parting to let him pass. She remained rooted to the spot, the weight of what had just happened settling heavily on her shoulders. She knew Marcus Bennett, not just as the father of the boy she had targeted, but as her superior. She had miscalculated, and now there would be consequences. The incident at the park quickly became the talk of the city. Videos of Axel pinning Dylan circulated online, sparking outrage. Headlines like "Police Dog Unleashed on Child" and "Captain Demands Justice for Son" dominated the news. Protests erupted outside the precinct, calling for Laura's suspension and accountability. Marcus wasted no time filing a formal complaint with Internal Affairs. He described the incident in meticulous detail, attaching the damning video evidence. His resolve was clear. This wasn't just about Dylan. It was about addressing the systemic issues that allowed officers like Laura to act with impunity. In her small apartment, Laura sat scrolling through messages from colleagues. Some expressed support, while others warned her of the storm she had unleashed. Her jaw clenched as she threw her phone aside. She wasn't going down without a fight. At home, Marcus and his wife, Angela, grappled with the aftermath. Dylan refused to go outside, his once lively demeanor replaced by a wary quietness. "He hasn't slept properly since it happened," Angela said softly, her eyes filled with worry. "You know they'll come after you for this, right?" Marcus nodded grimly. "Let them. They're not sweeping this under the rug." As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Laura's actions weren't an isolated incident. Former colleagues came forward with stories of her excessive force and questionable decisions. One officer, Marcus Fletcher, provided crucial evidence, internal reports that had been quietly dismissed over the years. At the disciplinary hearing, tensions ran high. Laura's attorney tried to frame Marcus as a biased father seeking revenge, but the evidence spoke louder. Video footage, witness testimonies, and Fletcher's damning reports painted a clear picture of misconduct. When the panel delivered their verdict, it was decisive. Laura Myers was stripped of her badge and relieved of her duties. Marcus felt a surge of relief, but also a lingering heaviness. The fight for justice was far from over. In the weeks that followed, life slowly returned to normal for the Bennett family. Dylan began venturing outside again, his laughter gradually returning. One evening, Marcus and Dylan revisited the park. Standing on the hill where the incident had unfolded, Dylan turned to his father and smiled. "Look, Dad, I'm not scared anymore." Marcus watched his son run freely down the slope, his heart swelling with pride and determination. He knew the road ahead would be long, but for now, he savored the victory they had fought so hard to achieve. If this story resonated with you, subscribe for more powerful narratives. Together, we can keep these conversations alive.